Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. In this episode, we are looking at the Tojiro, what's known as the MVS or molybdenum vanadium stainless color series, Gyuto 240mm knife. They call it the color series because the handles are available in different food-safe standardized colors, although Mark is bringing them in fashionable basic black. The core steel is specified as molybdenum vanadium stainless. It's a pretty good steel. It sharpens up pretty nicely. I've sharpened up a couple of them and thought it sharpened up quite well. The heat treat, they don't specify. I'm going to guess it's on the 57, 58 range, so kind of a medium soft hardness, so kind of nice and forgiving. Construction is mono steel, so the same material throughout the blade, no cladding, no layers. The weight on these is about 178 grams or 6.3 ounces, and the edge length is about 243, and these should be pretty similar the way they're made. So just slightly over 240, about 9.5 inches. Overall length, about 14.7 inches. The spine thickness is about 2.3 coming out of the handle, and not a lot of distal taper, but pretty much holds that most of the way, and then a bit of distal taper into a tip that's fairly thin, about the last inch or so of the blade, where the grind kicks in. Blade height is pretty generous, 50.7 millimeters at the heel, so you got plenty of clearance for the cutting board. And the handles on these are nice and tacky and grippy. They've got a resin handle with some kind of coating on there that's got a little bit of texture to it, and it's really grippy, kind of soft and grippy, but not mushy, so lots of grip. Here is a close-up with the blade, and you can see you've got some etched Tojiro Color Series logo on there. Trying to get this so I can get a snapshot of this for the website, or I should say for the YouTube videos. So ground pretty nicely. They've got kind of a semi-polish on there, but the only issue I've had with these is it's often the case where they'll be a little sharp on the edges for the spine and the back of the blade. A little bit of sandpaper, 10-minute job on there, and you can kind of clean that up and make them a little more comfortable if it even bothers you. Out-of-the-box edge on this, these are about a 5 out of 10. Decently ground edges, although you can get them sharper. The steel sharpens up, as I said, pretty nicely. Reasonably thin at the edge. Performance is pretty decent on these. And let's look at the profile. Also, while I'm at it, the balance point on this is almost right on the money for a pinch grip. So they've got a hidden tang handle, so it's fairly light. So these are almost a wah handle, Japanese handle balance, which is pretty cool. So if you have wah handled, more expensive Japanese knives, and you want something less expensive for work or for a little bit more of a beater knife or something like that, these will kind of be in that general range for your balance points. So here is the profile on the cutting board. This is a nice kind of overall, I'd say, pretty versatile profile. It's got a little bit of a flat spot at the heel, not a lot, but a little bit, and kind of a gentle belly throughout. I can get pretty high before I start hitting the tip on the board. Every knife's going to be a little different. This one I can get pretty high on. But pretty smooth profile, and like I said, I think this one's, I'll call it an all-arounder. So pretty versatile profile. Tip gets reasonably thin, and just kind of a good all-around knife. So if you need a knife for an entry-level culinary student, or an extra knife laying around for friends to use, or family and stuff that aren't into more expensive, nicer, I shouldn't say nicer, but more expensive knives that they've got to take more care in technique and stuff, these might be really good choices for that. So here is the Tojiro MVS series, color series, Gyuto 240mm knife.